So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. simultv.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me. simultv.com, sonny boy.
simultv.com.
simultv.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
simultv.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. simultv.com.
Welcome to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, where in a single moment you can recognize your brilliance and change your life. This is a transformational hour that covers an array of topics that demonstrate how individuals use their native talents, as shown in their name, to look at the ordinary in extraordinary ways. Now, Albert Einstein once said that everybody's a genius. Why would one of the smartest people on the planet declare that everyone is a genius unless he knew that to be true? I'm your host, Sharon Lynn Wyeth, creator of Namology Science and author of Know the Name, Know the Person. And in each weekly show, you'll hear the fascinating ways that other people discovered the genius in themselves and what they were able to accomplish. Now, at the end of every show, including tonight, you hear clues on how you can recognize your own innate genius. Now, all over the world, people have many, many diverse interests. And in that vein, people have asked about different occupations, different areas of life that have highly interested them. People want to know how highly successful people have managed to achieve their genius mindset when they use the gifts that we see in their name using Namology Science. So how does someone express their creative talents? And how does someone share those gifts with others in such a way that everybody benefits? Our expert tonight is Linda Schurman, who has developed her genius in the area of astrology. Now, you may have heard her on Coast to Coast on January 1st. She was one of 4 selected people to give us predictions of 2019. And I want to encourage you to listen to that because I'm going to ask totally different questions. So if you want more, that's a good place to go. Okay? Now, at one time in history, astrology was commonly accepted, as that's when the wise men followed to know, where to go, and they followed the stars. So tonight, since they were reading the sky, we're going to have Linda do that for us. Now, she has a private practice in astrology for over 45 years. She serves as an international clientele that includes corporations and individuals. She's written 3 books. What's Next? The Survival Guide to the 21st Century was published in 2007, and it contained targeted predictions that have recently unfolded, such as the housing crash, the stock market crash of 2008, followed by a lengthy recession. And I won't go into that because it's kind of in the past, and we want to know what's happening now. Her second book was published in 2012 and is called Fast Forward, Surviving the Race to the Future. And in this book, she discusses great economic depression, climate change, changes to the powerful elite, and historical cycles in humanity's history. Now, we're seeing some of that still playing out. Linda's goal is to educate everyone on these controversial topics. And to that extent, we can prepare ourselves both mentally and physically. Now, her third book is called Our Choice, Extinction or Evolution, and it's co-written with Richard Spitzer. And he's an analyst who would appear to be the exact opposite of astrology, and yet it's not the case because they're coming up with the same results. So we are absolutely thrilled to have Linda Schurman back with us to hear all about 2019 and what we can expect. Welcome to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You radio show, Linda.
Well, thank you, Sharon. It's such a pleasure to be on your wonderful show.
Well, thank you. I love having you. So, for those that don't know, even though I think this is getting to be rarer and rarer out there, what is astrology?
Well, astrology is a study of astronomical events in relationship to cycles and climates on Earth in our lives. It's sort of like a weather forecasting. It tells us as the planets move through the constellations in our solar system, it tells us the themes that arise historically. To give an example, right now we're experiencing Pluto going through the sign of Capricorn, where it has been going through since 2008. And it will be in this sign, transiting through this sign until 2024. Now, in other historic eras, which is what astrologers do, we look back and say, well, what happened in human civilizations and societies the last time this occurred? Well, one of them was the Protestant Reformation in Europe, in which a new religion was started. So that was a major, major upheaval because the Roman Catholic Church was as powerful as the monarchies were at that time. The last time, the most recent transit of Pluto through Capricorn was the American Revolution, which led to the Industrial Revolution and the French Revolution. So as you can see, we're in, as I had predicted before, a very revolutionary period where, as I've been predicting for the past almost a decade or so, that establishment would be disestablished. I said, the disestablishment of the establishment, that there would be problems in the church, which there have been. There have been scandals connected to the Roman Catholic Church during this whole period. And our own government and governments around the world have been challenged as they have not been challenged in recent history. I also mentioned that as Pluto squared Uranus, that took place between 2008 and 2015, that the last time that had happened was the 1930s, with the Great Depression and the rise of the Third Reich and the dictators around the world. So I said we are in danger of possibly getting in office a range of autocrats or wannabe dictators in countries around the world, including our own, and also that coincided with the Great Depression in 2008. Of course, Wall Street crashed, and we had a severe, they called it the Great Recession. And we have been having a pretense of coming out of that in recent years. But I have said we never came out of it for most people. When you have the upper 1% of this country that owns more wealth than the bottom 90%, you see a gap and inequality in the economy, in wealth, that we have never seen in modern times since the late 19th, early 20th century. So that you have, and the taxpayer bailed out the banking crash. And it just goes on and on. The problems that occurred in 2008, 2009 were never really corrected. The abuses on the parts of the banks, corporations, we're now in a monopoly society where giant corporations are absorbing everybody else. Now, that leads me to what do I think this transit before it comes to an end in 2024. So between now and 2024, I think we're going to have a reality check and another major selling off in the stock market, which we have recently been experiencing anyway, but it flails back and forth. It crashes and then comes back up again and crashes. But we are basically, as unstable as things are, we're in a bear market. And by the end of 2019, we will know that this is serious. Corporate debt right now has reached over $9.1 trillion. The corporations, in order to buy other corporations and absorb them, they finance it. They borrow the money. Our sovereign wealth debt is the worst since World War II. In other words, our government is facing a major debt and deficit crisis. Private credit card debt is the greatest that it's been in modern history. And student loan debt, as most of us realize now, is a major, huge problem. So I am predicting we're simply going to collapse under the weight of this debt. And there is going to be major transformations as Uranus is in Taurus. Uranus in Taurus, the last time that was there again was the 1930s, and we saw great debt crises, and Franklin Roosevelt, the banks closed, lost their money, and as you know, our grandparents, great-grandparents lost all of their money. The banks simply closed. What he did was what we term a jubilee. He simply printed money, put it in trucks, and sent it out to the banks so that they could reopen. Also during the last transit of Uranus in Taurus, which lasts about 7 years, in addition to the banking, change the debt, the crisis, and everything, and a jubilee, we had the Dust Bowl out in the greatest environmental catastrophe we've ever had here in America. So I am predicting that, as we know, climate change is upon us, and we're going to see in the western United States mostly, and the southwestern, we're going to see such heating up and such drought. Last summer's wildfires in California were just shocking and tragic. And Jerry Brown announced, he said, this is only the beginning of this. They're drying up, they're heating up. We're going to see mass exodus out of those parts of the country. So we're going to have another rough equivalent to the Dust Bowl. We're going to have an equivalent to the banks crashing and some kind of jubilee, transformation in banking and finance that I think, because Uranus is innovation, we're going to, because we will have major currency crises on the value of currency around the world, we're going to have a blockchain digital currency.
Okay,
and
hold that thought. Hold that
Yeah.
thought right there, because we need to take a break. Stay tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which is being heard on xzbn.net and X-Zone Broadcast Network, and on the website, knowthename.com. Now, after the break, we're going to find out the rest of what's coming for us in this way, and a few good news things also. Stay tuned.
Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, as together we'll investigate the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here on the X-Zone Radio TV show on XZBN and the X-Zone TV channel on Simul TV. Since 1990, the X-Zone Radio TV show has been the place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. Together, we'll investigate UFOs, aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, psychic phenomenon, lake monsters, conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, the truth embargo, alien abductions, ESP, haunted locations from around the world, and so much more. With over 28 years of broadcasting and more than 4,500 individual guests, the X-Zone is truly a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality, as evidenced by the credibility, integrity, and professionalism of the guests that we bring to our international audience. If you have seen a UFO, had a close encounter, seen a ghost, Bigfoot, lake monster, or a story that you would like to share or have investigated, contact me, Rob McConnell, by sending me your email to xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, or you can call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 143, and on Skype, X-Zone Radio TV. For more information on the X-Zone Radio TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, visit www.xzoneradiotv.com or www.xzonetvchannel.com or simultv.com and xzbn.net. Until next we meet here in the X-Zone from our broadcast center and studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, always remember, X-Zone Nation, Keep your eyes to the sky and your heart in the light.
It's hard to listen to the news without realizing we're living in volatile, unprecedented times. Yet never has there been such an opportunity to transform the human condition. As old structures fail, where can we find the guidance to co-create a better way? Find Your Path Home is an ever-evolving, leading-edge information, education, and healing resource center designed to support and guide you on your path to unity and enlightenment. Based on sound principles employed by shaman worldwide, we provide techniques that can support you through the current transitions, offering online shamanic classes, international long-distance shamanic healing sessions, complimentary Mission Evolution radio episodes and Stairway to Heaven TV vignettes, seminars, retreats, and much more. All of this can be found on findyourpathhome.com.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which is being heard on xzbn.net and knowthename.com. Now, our guest tonight is Linda Schurman, whose website is soothsayer.com, and it's SOOTHSAYER, and those were both S's like silly, okay? Soothsayer.com, even though her astrology is anything but silly. Okay, now this is the part of the show where we interpret a portion of our guest's name. So, Linda, are you ready?
I certainly am. Sharon, I want to say my website is SOOTHESAYER. There's an E in the middle. That's confusing, but that's how you get to me.
Thank you. I will correct that in my notes and on my record-keeping too.
Yes, I hope to be more soothing than some of the dire predictions, because I do have some positive things that I think are amazing that also I believe lie ahead of us as well.
Well, we're looking forward to hearing those. So let's do your name first, because we always do that at this time. So Linda was born with self-confidence, and she's always had self-confidence. She's also been very family-oriented, according to her name, and very inclusive. She likes to be included, and she likes to include everybody else. She considers the entire world her family. That all shows up in her name. She can run and organize an entire assisted living space if she had chosen to use her skills in that regard, because she has wonderful managerial skills. Instead, she manages in a different way by interpreting astrology for so many of us. She's highly likable, yet she's not going to change who she is to get liked. And she's highly organized in her own way, not necessarily that other people can follow it. So she might have piles in different places, but she knows exactly what's in every pile and how to get her hands on it. Okay? So the other thing that's interesting, Linda, since the last time you were here, I'm now doing some of health. And in your name, the thing that really shoots up right away is you've got to watch your knees so that you don't hurt your knees, damage your knees, need surgery, as you progress through life.
You're absolutely right. That's where I have some chronic problems.
Yeah, that's what shows up in the name.
So far, you're right about everything, Sharon.
Now, for those of you who are wondering where I saw that in her name, I'm going to show you at the end of the hour exactly where I got those things. So stay tuned for that, because I want you to know what's in your name too. Okay, Linda, you were going to talk about Bitcoins and the finances right before the break. Go ahead, or weather too. Go ahead.
Yes. Well, we know that in my most recent book that I wrote with Richard Spitzer, we targeted all the major issues that we are going to have to face, which are there are crises at a level that are of such magnitude. And one of them is the world of banking and finance and currency. And my feeling is not so much about Bitcoin per se. It's about the technology, the designers of Bitcoin, that is called blockchain. blockchain technology. And the way it's set up makes it almost, I say not totally, but almost impossible to hack or fool with. As you know, we have massive cybersecurity problems in this nation that I've been talking about in books, newsletters for years. But this is one of the possible solutions. I think they're going to get rid of paper money and everything will be done online. Already, a lot of the youngsters today are charging stuff on cell phones, and there's remote lending that banks are doing in Europe and Africa and all over the world over people's cell phones. So we're halfway there. I'm not sure I personally like it. I feel that people could be erased from existence financially overnight, depending on who controls this system or who breaks into it or whatever. I think there's a lot of serious problems that would have to be faced and solved, but I think this is the direction that we're going in, that the federal government will be embracing that technology.
That's going to make it really hard for people to hide money in their mattresses.
Well, this is it. The tax collectors will love this. The IRS will be in ecstasy over this. And also drug dealers and all kinds of criminal operations that, smuggled paper money around, that won't be. But right now they're smuggling anyway digitally. Deutsche Bank was broken into the other day for laundering drug money, and Deutsche Bank is the biggest bank in Europe. There's corruption in those banks with or without paper money. They're just doing the same crooked things digitally, transferring digitally that they did with paper money. So it's not going to fix everything, but there will be certain things. I'm just concerned because we have so many hacks and technological glitches. Right now, we're really in a cyber war with China and Russia, who are hacking into everything and stealing everything. So until we have people who can really fix these things, we're in a lot of trouble. All of this internet, computer, digital age has been marvelous in one sense of the capabilities that we now have. But the problems behind it have not been addressed the way they should have been addressed in advance, and I see that as a problem.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you really say is, everybody out there, if you want a good, secure job for life, learn how to stop the hackers and really learn computers, and everybody will want to hire you.
Absolutely, especially specializing in cyber security. These guys who do that as a profession and do it well are going to be able to write their ticket. That's why I feel that's very important. But I feel that this coming crisis is so serious. We will not have seen something this serious since 1929. I do not think it's going to last 10 years. I feel that this severe recession/depression will probably last until around 2024. So we're talking about a 5-year, not a decade-long situation, but everything is going to be transformed and changed. Climate change is the elephant in everybody's room, and we are going to have to, one of the things that I feel is going to end the age of fossil fuel. And I am promoting this and talking about it on every show, every newsletter I've written, because I seem to be alone. There's just a handful of people who are discussing this dramatic technology. It's called hydrogen boron nuclear fusion, not nuclear fission like we have in the plants that give off all this pollution and contaminate waters and have accidents like Fukushima, which is really, really terrible, has never been fixed. This is nuclear fusion. You create a hydrogen fusion reaction. You literally produce an infinite amount of energy. This is how the sun operates. The sun is one nuclear fusion blast.
So for all of our listeners, Linda, a year ago, if you want to go look in the archives, we spent like a half of our session on this nuclear fusion because it is so important. So if you want more details and more in depth, that's the show to go back into archives and listen to.
Absolutely, and I don't want to spend all our time on it, but there's 4 giant chambers, one in France, one in Germany, one in Switzerland, and one here in California, that all have fusion reactions. And the MIT has figured out a way to deal with electrical conductivity. The problem is we have to create an infrastructure for it. We have the old infrastructures for coal and gas and oil. It's all going to have to be changed and transformed. My feeling is we'll have at least one system up and running by 2026. And that's not that far in the future. Another thing that I've probably talked about on this show and other shows is we are entering what is known as an extended solar minimum or extended Maunder minimum, which means that the sun is producing fewer flares and storms.
We did not talk about that.
Yes, the last time that happened was the mini ice age in Europe and North America in the 1700s. This lasted for 77 years. This may not last that long, but it may give us a reprieve from the massive apocalyptic global warming that the climate scientists are describing to us now, the runaway warming, which people will be leaving their nations and immigrating all over the place because there'll be so many places that become uninhabitable, they'll be flooded, or there'll be deserts, or whatever, that is just going to create mass immigration from one part of the planet to other parts of the planet. And the solar minimum, maybe, so I saw it in astrology. I said, these planets going into Aquarius look cool. They look cold to me, not warm. So it may, and the scientists are now saying that all these signs right now are pointing to this. The experts on fusion on the sun and cycles of the sun. So this is being talked about on certain science websites, and I time to time quote them in my newsletters. So this may give humankind somewhat of a reprieve to come up with the answers and create what is known as a green revolution with solar and windmills and fusion.
Hold that thought. So we need to take another break. We understand this is going really fast for everybody. Stay tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which is being heard on xzbn.net and X-Zone Broadcast Network Station, and on the website, knowthename.com. Now, this show's dedicated to astrology and knowing what's coming next so that you can all be prepared. So after the break, we'll hear some more of what Linda has learned along the way. Thank you and stay tuned.
They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Ellie Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Linwyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. Our guest tonight is Linda Schurman, who can be reached via her website, soothsayer.com. And we want to make sure we're spelling it correctly. It is SOOTH, a big E, SAYER.com.
We hope there's some soothing things in there.
Exactly. Before you finish up telling us what you were just talking about before the break, I really would like to know, this last eclipse on the 5th, this past weekend, was so hard hit by so many people I know. I would love to have you address that. But first, I'd like you to finish what you were talking about right before we took a break.
Well, I was talking about the positive qualities of a green revolution, of putting our mind to all this. I talk about in our last book that I wrote with Richard Spitzer, what the scientists have described as our solutions to these problems, how we can survive and continue life on Earth, which I won't go into all of this right now, but I do believe that we can do it. I think that humanity we have it in us to survive these times, and so that I just want to get that across, that there are things going on that not that many people are talking about. I think we're going to have an entirely different economic system that's not either going to be on the far left or on the far right or whatever. There should be a balance between entrepreneurial capitalism and social programs and safety nets, which I think eventually within the next decade or so we'll figure that out. But the whole economic system right now, it's the age of the robber barons and the monopolies and the corporations and banks that buy out the government, and we're becoming aware of these things. So politically, there's going to be huge upheavals and changes, and I believe that because Pluto is returning to where it was in the American Revolution, we're going to claim what our democracy really means to us, and what free thought and equal opportunity for all really means in the 21st century. We're going to revisit all of this and say, who are we anyway?
That part sounds very good.
Now, the eclipse, I want to say to you, that recently occurred, I wrote a whole essay on my January newsletter about this eclipse. This eclipse is going to affect different people in different ways, because we all have, just as you translate somebody's individual name, we have individual private charts for every person who has ever been born. So that's what I do most of the time for a living, is I translate and describe and give people readings about their individual charts. So this depends on your individual chart as to how this eclipse has placed itself in your chart and in your life. In a broad sense of the word, I believe it's creating a consciousness of how bad, and I don't say that, I say our leaders are today, how terrible, how unsatisfied we are, and rightly so, with the leadership not only here in the United States but around the world. We've got a bunch of autocrats who, if they aren't dictators, they want to be dictators. And people are waking up to the depressing fact that if we don't pay attention, if we don't get out and vote, if we aren't well informed, if we don't have the capacity for critical thinking, we could easily be suppressed, depressed in every way by bad leadership. And my essay is about this is the end of the age of the Godfather. This is
Linda, it's like we're losing you. Okay,
pardon?
that's better. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just like we were losing you for a minute.
Yeah, I feel that we've got to get past looking to a kind of dictatorial godfather to make all of our decisions for us, from the top levels of government down to the lower levels of our life. Democracy requires that we take responsibility for ourselves, that we gather in groups, that we discuss issues and even disagreements in a civilized way, that we think, that we keep track. It's a responsibility, and I write about this. I feel as we enter the age of Aquarius, the Capricorn stuff, which is what this eclipse is in, we're becoming aware how we have allowed ourselves to be taken over by other people and our lives influenced in this way. And this is depressing when people have to face it. They say, "Oh gosh, we have to grow up. We can't just let these people. We have to get together in groups. We have to organize. We need to really value the notion and the idea of democracy, which is an Aquarius idea. The Capricorn has to do with authority figures running things for you. So this eclipse, to me, in Capricorn, and Mars is squaring it this month, and there's a lot going on with this, is making us aware of how we have, all of us in one way or another, or many of us, have sort of turned ourselves over to these people and not paid, it's too depressing. We don't want to look at this, or we don't want to pay attention to it. And Capricorn can be depressing when you wake up to maybe having let things go that you should have paid attention to. Ultimately, it's a positive, because it's going to get us to the other side of this. We don't have to be depressed about this. We can take responsibility. These young people coming up that I'm having now as clients, and I'm working with these kids, my grandchildren's age, in their 20s and early 30s, I am so proud of them, the way they're thinking. They're not as materialistic. They want to participate in their governance. They believe that we have to combat climate change and have a different... I just feel that some of these youngsters coming up realize this. They don't want to turn themselves over, the responsibilities over. And I think this eclipse is making many of us aware of this. And it can be depressing. We don't look at it. None of us do. But the ultimate is surviving it and realizing where we have to go with this. This is a tough time, and Mars is in Aries, squaring that eclipse degree the week of January 20th, and then Mars, the planet of war, activity, and everything, is hitting Uranus squared to the node. So within the first week of February, I think there's going to be a significant earthquake or volcanic eruption again somewhere. I'm not sure where, but between the 1st of February and the 9th of February. So we're dealing, Capricorn rules the earth that we live in, so we're dealing with the fact that many earth changes are also taking place amidst our economic and societal changes at the same time. So we're having to look at these things. So I don't know whether that answers your question, but I think that some people are feeling really down about all this, and there's the temptation to feel that way. I am saying to myself, well, it's about time that we woke up, and I think we're going to step up to the plate and wake up and do what we need to do as a society and as human beings.
The United States has a history of always stepping up to the plate and coming through and surprising everybody else, but we seem to do that. But something that you said leads me into when Afrawesh was one of the few astrologers that Hitler didn't kill due to her accuracy. She states in her book, Can It Happen Again?, that the Earth transitions through cycles within each cycle lasting approximately 2,160 years.
Right.
And that when we transverse backwards in the zodiac through the universe, that there's been a lot of talk that we're entering the age of Aquarius. And Afra stated that there's always a calamity of major proportions between Cancer and Leo. That's when Noah's flood occurred, and between Pisces and Aquarius. And at the last time we went from Pisces to Aquarius, Atlantis, we had that problem with Atlantis.
Right.
And we're currently on that same cusp of Pisces to Aquarius. So is that what's causing some of these earth changes, and we should all just get used to our earth is changing?
Yes, I think part of this is man-made climate change and greenhouse gases melting glaciers, and part of it is that, and part of it is that's absolutely, I agree with that. That as we change from Pisces to Aquarius, there will probably be massive floods. There's already tsunamis in Indonesia, Malaysia. These island nations around the world are having earthquakes and tsunamis. There's going to be a big one coming right up, I believe, in March of this year that may be involving Japan between March and early April. So many of these places are in what we call the Ring of Fire in the Pacific, and many of them are Asian locations. But I feel that yes, I feel there will be. Now, where all of this will take place, volcanoes, major volcanoes, when they erupt, do change the climate. They cause a massive cooling. They can cause crop losses and famines all over the world. So that many of the great changes that have occurred, the 2100-year cycle is roughly the length of one of these ages of each of the signs. And I feel that we are actually, some astrologers disagree because we don't know exactly where the dividing line is. But my feeling is we're on the cusp now.
Okay, we've got to stop again. I hate to stop you, but we need to, because we need to take our last break. Stay tuned to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You on xzbn.net and knowthename.com. We will get more of Linda after the break. Stay tuned.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Ellie Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
So I was watching the X Zone TV channel last night when I was abducted by aliens, and they kept repeating to me over and over again, simultv.com, simultv.com.
What's simultv.com?
That's what I asked them. They had it written on the side of their UFO.
How do you spell that?
UFO.
No, I mean simultv.com.
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 Right. SIMULTV.com.
Interesting that you were abducted by aliens in a simultv.com UFO last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, I remember now last night I was awakened from a deep sleep. My great-grandmother was standing there. She said she'd come from the hereafter to tell me about simultv.com. She even spelled it out for me.
SIMULTV.com, sonny boy.
SIMULTV.com.
SIMULTV.com, sonny boy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, you'll never guess what my psychic guru just told me.
SIMULTV.com.
Exactly. Are you guys psychic too?
Of course.
We all know about simultv.com. SIMULTV.com.
Welcome back. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, and you're listening to Know the Name, Know the Genius in You. Our guest tonight is Linda Schurman, whose website is soothsayer.com, SOOTHESAYER.com. Now, she's taken her skills to a level where she's able to help each person individually prepare for what their plan is. Just like I see blueprints in a name, astrology has the best system for timing. And if you want to know what's coming up for you and the timing of it, astrology is fabulous. And Linda is so very accurate. Bless her. She has helped me through the years, and I so support her ability and recommend her to so many people that I know. And so if you haven't tried astrology before, this is a wonderfully safe place to start with Linda. And she goes through and literally guides you for what's in your best interest according to the blueprint in your chart. So, Linda, what I'd like to do in this segment, if you don't mind, just looking at the U.S. and Canada, because that's where so many of our listeners are, and saying, what would you suggest that everybody prepares for as we're going through these transitions? Like, do we need to stockpile food? Do we need to have water? Those type of things. And also, if you would, address any changes you see in shifts in our education systems or our consciousness, what mankind's consciousness is going to be doing.
Oh, those are wonderful questions. And I believe that there are no absolutes in astrology. There are only climates that come and go, and human beings decide what they're going to do about them or with them, whether they're going to take the opportunities or whether they're going to go into denial or whether they're going to resist or whatever. There's always the unknown factor of humans deciding whether or not to face something and do something about it. Having said that, I am of the belief that our system of education will be completely and totally transformed in the 2020s. It obviously isn't working well, and we need a public education that's free for everybody. I think that's going to be changed as these Jupiter-Saturn conjunction occurs in Aquarius December of 2020, and Pluto goes into Aquarius in 2024 for many years. So I really feel that there will be a total transformation in education. There will be dramatic changes in the economies. Now, I also feel that you mentioned the United States and Canada. I feel that we will probably transit through these challenging times better than most places on Earth, because of the luck of our geography in North America. We have the Great Lakes, which is the largest supply of fresh water in the world, along with the Mississippi River and waterways, rich farmland. We just have a geographical advantage in so many ways. Now, it doesn't mean the coastal areas are highly at risk for flooding and earthquakes out west. We're going to have our series of crises, but I do believe, especially through the middle of the country, that we have the farmland, we have the water to survive. Now, during these tough times that lay immediately ahead of us, even though we will eventually, within the next decade, go into a digital economy, cash will still be there. Cash will still be king. You want to stash and save your cash. You don't want to be invested in the stock market right now. I would say as soon as it pops up, which it did today, it'll have its ups, it'll have its wild swings before it comes down into the cellar at the end of this year. I would get out of my stocks. If you can pay off your debts, try to get out of debt or diminish your debt. That's important. Try to be in a property with no mortgage on it that you can own outright and generate maybe some rental income. I think if you own property with little or no debt and can rent out part of it, you'll get through these tough times. Many did in the Great Depression. And I think it's important to grow your own food organically, to become a part of your local community, to get acquainted with people, local organic gardens and farms and farmers markets, and socializing and local governance. Get back to knowing people. Get off of your cell phone for a little bit. Put it in a basket and get to know your neighbors, because our neighbors, we're going to be holding hands with each other and helping each other and possibly raising more food healthfully and locally as these emergencies arise. Your families, you need to reconnect. We are blessed. You mentioned in my name, I am blessed with the most wonderful 5 children and 5 grandchildren and 1 great-grandchild, and we are so close as a family. It's important to, if you're wounded, to restore your family relationships, get to know your neighbors. We've developed such an isolationist policy in our personal lives over the past 50 years or so. We need to get back together again. These are the pieces of advice. I think it's always good to store preserved food and fresh water in your basement in lieu of any emergency that might come along. My husband and I have about 2 years' supply of preserved food and fresh water in our basement just in case. We never know precisely when these emergencies arise what is going to happen and what the governments are going to do, but I feel a lot is going to depend on the state that you live in as to how prepared these places are and how right now we're in a very polarized society, political, where there's so much hate and everything. We got to throw that hate out. We've got to get together and start liking each other. We don't have to agree. We don't have to agree with everything. We just have to talk it out. And the more we survive in groups, we don't survive alone. We need to remember this.
I love that statement that we don't have to agree, we just have to talk it out, because right now, so many people, if you go to say anything that's different than what they've already chosen to believe, they want to shut down.
This is true, and this is not how democracy works, or a republic, or a good system works, or a community, or a family. This does not work at all. We need to sit down. You're entitled to your opinion, your point of view, whatever research you've done. The more we can share our points of view and information with each other, the closer we're going to get to being able to help each other, to help ourselves, and know what the truth really is.
Now, to help everybody learn to communicate better and know how to communicate in a way that somebody else can hear you, my 3rd book came out just this week. It's Know the Name, Know How to Connect. And I am giving it away free as an ebook off my website, knowthename.com, just because that's my contribution to society. So you don't have to give me any money for it, even though it took me quite a while to make. So that
Congratulations, Sharon. That's wonderful.
Thank you. I just want people to have clues and hints on how you can do this better, so that you can get over the rocky spots.
Yeah.
So it's free on my website. Now, if you go to buy it somewhere else, you're paying for it. But if you want to go to my website, it's absolutely free. So Linda, we only have about a minute left. Is there anything you'd like us to know in that time?
I feel that the vision that we need to have to not only survive but thrive for the human race and for life on this planet is living in concert with Earth and in cooperation with each other. And if we have that philosophy, and if we get in touch with our inner psyches, our inner spiritual selves, we can get through this. And this is the message that I wish to leave to our listeners and to anybody out there who is concerned about the fate of all of us.
Thank you so much for joining us, Linda. It's always such a joy and a pleasure to have you on our show with us.
And my pleasure too, Sharon.
Thank you. Now, be prepared and surprised and so very pleased if you get to experience Linda's work. Again, her website is how to get in touch with her, and her website is soothsayer.com, SOOTHESAYER.com. Now, Linda's name indicates that she's oriented towards humanity and she's very inclusive with people. This is found in the first vowel of I. And as we were talking about, family is so important. If your first vowel is an I, you get all your lessons through family, the good and the bad. They all seem to come through family. Now, if your name has the first vowel of I, you too like to be included with others and to have them include you back. Also, I promised that I would tell you where I found her knees in her name. And if you have the combination of an N followed by a D, like in Linda, the ND in your name or anybody's name that you know, that indicates that you can have problems with your knees as you get older. So you always want to be taking care of your knees while you're younger, knowing that that's your weak spot in your body. So if you want to know where your genius lies, I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, host of the radio show Know the Name, Know the Genius in You, which is heard on xzbn.net radio and X-Zone Broadcast Network and on knowthename.com. Now, you can tune in every week to hear us, and we always have the most fascinating guests. And if you'd like a reading, please schedule yourself one at knowthename.com. This is Sharon Lynn Wyeth signing off.
They are here, and they've been here for thousands of years, making their presence known in the shadows. They might be seen by a lonely motorist on a deserted road late at night, or by a frightened and confused husband in the bedroom he is sharing with his wife. But who are they? What do they want? Why are they here? Perhaps most concerning, has the government been aware of their presence all along? The new book by Ellie Marzulli, UFO Disclosure, the 70-year cover-up exposed, delves into the world of UFOs. Can full disclosure be soon? Order now and receive a free hour and 37-minute DVD on the UFO phenomenon. UFOs are real. Get both the book and the DVD, a $40 value, for only $19.99. To order your book and DVD today, go to lamarzulli.net. That's LAMARZULLI.net.
If you are looking for a safe, zero-calorie natural option to the harmful artificial sweeteners on the market today, Just Like Sugar is what you're looking for. Just Like Sugar is a wonderful natural alternative for those health-conscious people who choose a calorie-restricted diet with a great, pure, sweet flavor that tastes just like sugar. Just Like Sugar is a great natural option for people suffering from diabetes and may be useful in restricted diet programs where standard sugars are not allowed and does not cause a laxative effect of some other sweeteners. Just Like Sugar comprises a perfect blend of chicory root fiber, natural calcium, natural vitamin C, and Just Like Sugar's sweetness comes from the natural flavors from the peel of the orange. Just Like Sugar is a natural alternative to harmful artificial sweeteners and will change the way that you believe all natural sweetener products taste. Just Like Sugar is available at your local Whole Foods markets, Wild Oats markets, Henry's, Sun Harvest, and many other fine natural food stores in the U.S., Canada, and worldwide.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.